Okay, can everybody hear me now? Hopefully. Can everybody hear me, see me, other such things? Hello. Hello, hello. Can anybody hear me? Got sound but no picture. Okay, well, we're working on it. Ay, 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 I love it. See and hear me? Okay. I can hear you but cannot see you. Well, maybe that's not such a bad thing. Hang on, guys. We're working on this. Can only hear you. Oh, good Lord. All right, hang on. What is going on here? Can anybody see or hear me? Can only hear me. Okay, well, we're trying here, folks. Hang on. Let me step out and try it one more time. Give me just a second here. This is crazy. This thing, I swear. Yep, this is like other podcasters I've watched this week. Oh, good Lord. Crazy. You know what? I do not understand why this thing is add to stage. It should be working. Well, yeah, you're not wrong there, my friend. You're not wrong there. Um, yeah, okay. I don't know why this is ugh, so frustrating. So frustrating. All right, hang on. We're working on it. Ah, yay. Is visible. Camera source is visible. Okay. Settings. Hang on. Working on it. Hang on, guys. I promise we're going to get through this. But the good thing is everyone can hear me, so at least we got that going for us. Share screen, invite participants. And settings. Come on. Where's settings? Where is settings? Come on. I know you're out there. Settings. Yeah. Trust me, the Almighty is way more. Let's not insult God by saying that I'm somehow comparable. Believe me, the Almighty is way more competent at this point. This infernal camera, I swear. Sometimes virtual camera is selected instead. Okay. Don't dispute that, but why? Why is it doing this? I don't. All right. Can I? Okay. Ugh. This is so frustrating. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this thing is doing this to me. All right. Wait. You can see me now? You can see me now. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay. Okay. This is good. All right. Hang on. Now I've just got to. Okay, you can see me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Now I'm gone again. Now I'm back. I can see and hear you. Oops, and now you're back. You can see me now. Well, okay, there we go. Oh, and you can hear me. Okay, this is good. All right. This is good. This is good indeed. Um trying to good lord. This is just nuts. Oh, there I am. Okay, jeez. Oh god. Here, gone, and back. Okay. All right. Sorry, folks. We are trying to get you. You know what? I don't blame you a bit for peeing your pants laughing at me trying to do this because that oh my god, it's just oh Lord. Yeah, man, you're not wrong. I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. Oh my god, this is just crazy. We are trying once again to utilize Rumble Studio, and they now have a new and different setup for Rumble Studio. So, oh my God, y'all are awful. Just you're awful. I tell you, just oh my God, just something else. I love you. I absolutely love you. Um, good grief, it's just crazy, just absolutely crazy. I love you guys. I really do. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Can we? Okay, no, we don't want that. Okay, never mind. All right, it is what it is. All right, let me get back to where I was at, or try to, and we'll get this thing started properly. So, I suppose the first thing that we should do is, give ourselves a round of applause. Again, again, please, we deserve it. And when, and the applause isn't so much for me, but for the fact that you guys have survived this long in this maddening process. Hi, hello, and how are you doing out there, my friends? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch. Your internet's being a hooey today. My internet, my computer skills are being gay today, so don't feel bad, brother. It's just I tell you the truth. Oy vey. All right, good to have y'all here with us. I, I'm not gonna give you the clap. I'm just clapping for the fact that our picture's on the screen and you guys can hear me. It's just kind of a refreshing feeling. Anyway, glad you guys are here with us. Welcome to Front Porch Brunch. My name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative. Uh, and welcome in. We're glad to have you. Like I say, I'm still trying to get used to Rumble Studio, and they gave me now a new setup. I shouldn't say gave me, it's there. I utilized it for the first time today. And I'm I think someone said it earlier. I think it was either TBA or WWG1 that yeah, it was TBA. Said I've heard from a number of podcasters that Rumble or their platform have been effing up lately. Well, I don't know if that's the case here or just me trying to get used to using this new system, but yeah, it's a learning process. So and we're getting there. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're with us this morning. Welcome in. It's been a little while since we've done one of these. I've been traveling the Memorial Day weekend and everything else. And so good to have all you guys here. Yeah, there's a bunch of people to say hello to. Miss Gypsy's in the house, as always. Mwah, good to have you here, darling. Who else is here that I can say hello to? Where is she at? There she is. Mwah. Um, yeah, it's good to have all you guys here with us. Glad you're in the house. WWG1 is here as always, and TBA is here. Yes, there he is. Yes, there TBA is, my friends. Glad to have him here with us. So yeah, Robert Lowry's in the house. Professor Tie Dye is in the house. Good to have everybody here. Share the link around with your friends. Let them know we're here on Rumble. Let them know we're here on YouTube. Let them know we're out there on X. I know the X folks uh, I know the X folks are here somewhere, so we'll catch up with them at some point, or they'll catch up with us. Of course, the way I'm running these days, catching up with me is not going to be that hard anyway. So there you go. Oh, we got a bunch of folks over there on X. A good 7 of you. How you doing this morning? If you're out there on X and you've got the ability, hey, let's hear from you. God love your hearts. Um, we're glad to have you in the house. Feel free to drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you if you've got the ability to say something. If nothing else, I'll say it. See, okay, it's an open chat, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So please, um, yeah, Rumble Studio is relatively new, and they're still working out the bugs. And this is not to say that all the problems this morning are related to Rumble Studio. Good morning, Tiny Tesla. We're glad to have you in the house. Mwah. Good to see you, dear. Glad you're here with us. Oh, yeah, it's good to have you all here. So, yeah, feel free to drop comments. We'd love to hear from you. Like I said, it's been a little while since we've done this, and going to try and have some fun this morning. Apparently, y'all are having fun watching me, sweat like a hooker in church trying to figure out how to make this whole thing work, which is perfectly fine. You know, I would rather you laugh at my expense than sit there and just be miserable, which hopefully you're not. But yeah, we're glad to have all you guys here with us this morning, and we'll get this thing figured out. We'll get this thing figured out. We got good numbers so far on X, on Rumble, on YouTube. And hey, share the link around with your friends. Tell them to stop in. We got some stuff to talk about this morning. We're going to try and let everybody give their say about what some things are going on in the news. And we will begin, as is our wont, with the Merry Memes section of the show. Now, WWG1. There's one of them that you sent me that I'm saving toward the end, which, by the way, I love it. Okay. I think I can clue you into which one it is. The Boys in the Woods, of the ones that you sent me. So yeah, that one was great. I'm saving that one toward the very end for different reasons. But yeah, we got a couple or three to go through, and then we'll get right into the heart of our stories. And I suppose we'll start this one off with the under the heading of things that would surprise you if you wake up early enough on a camping trip. Never let it be said that there are not things in the woods that you will always find interesting. So, from our friends up in Pennsylvania, just imagine if you woke up to the sound and you heard the following. Oh, please tell me you're going to start working. Come on. Come on. Okay, can everybody see the second? Oh, there it is. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's how you do it. All right, folks, check this out. Whoop. Pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk, you better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole crew will act up. Get up, stand up, come up, throw your hands up. Yeah, there you go, folks. You gotta love that. No, okay, all right, yeah, the otters are very cute indeed. So yeah, we things you see on camping trips out there. Now, this next one, and WWG1, you got to help me out here. Very rarely, I shouldn't say would I ever put a foreign language meme up, but yeah, that's definitely definitely a party of weasels. Definitely a party of weasels. Now, WWG1, you got to help me out with understanding something here. It was a collection of otters out in the woods. So that's what it was. But you got to help me with this next one because it's foreign language. What is the context on this one? If I may ask. So what is the context on this? Because I've got it. I'm more than happy to play it. Um, but yeah, what is the context on this thing? We'll see. Let's see. It has to do with a chef named Rubio. Oh, okay. Hang on. It's okay. Here's what it looks like. Okay, it runs about 2.5 minutes. Something about a chef named Rubio. Now is that now? Wait a minute. Is that anything nice to say to your friend? Seriously? Seriously. Okay. Well, all right. He says show it. I don't remember the context. Okay. All right. We're going to play a snippet of this and we'll see what WWG1 has to say. So, with that, it's a foreign language meme. It runs 2.5 minutes. And check it out, folks.
Porcellino, dicono che porti tanta fortuna e fammi trovare uno sfidante degno di sta città. Tiè, te do pure la moneta.
Okay, so he's dropping a coin in a statue. We have a gentleman here making a
Mi sa che ci siamo. Grazie, porcellino. A buon rendere.
Ciao Berti, che ti vuoi fare oggi?
Che tu c'hai, grazie.
Senti, c'hai il panino con il lampredotto, enzimino, lampredotto normale o se no quello bollito?
No, come un enzimino.
Passano i secoli, ma il lampredotto a Firenze rimarrà sempre l'istituzione per eccellenza e prepararlo è un'arte. Piacere, chef Rubio.
Ciao, grazie.
Ora fammi provare l'emozione del lampredotto.
Che ti vado ad assaggiare.
Okay, hold on a minute. All right. WWG1 says, I don't know what the hell this is. Must be a mistake on my part. Okay, well, then we'll just chalk it up to stuff happens. So never mind. Okay, don't worry about it. It's all good. Well, that is our merry memes section of the morning. It's a brief one. Oh, now wait a minute. Now you're just piling on the poor guy. Come on now, TBA. That's not even nice. Really? I mean, really? Oh my gosh. Oh, for heaven's sake. WWG1 has contributed so many memes to this program, and what are you doing? You're just piling on the guy. One little mistake. I'm glad you don't do that to me. Oh, wait, you do that to me all the time. Never mind. Oh, Lord. I tell you the truth. Anyway. Now, folks, we are always looking for memes. We're always looking for funny things to laugh at. We're always looking for things to make us smile. So if you happen to find something like that, if you come across something where it's like, hey, this is really good, I want to put this in. Yeah, exactly. WWG1 is the meme master. No doubt about that. But if you find something that you think is funny or you want to contribute or what have you, well, hey, feel free to drop that in because, we are all about putting that up on the screen. So if you're trying to find me on X, you can find me at the following place, the Front Porch C1. Hey, my DMs are open. Feel free to tag me. Feel free to, put it out there. We'd love to have it. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, there it is right there, running across the bottom of the screen. Oh, that's so much nicer. So much nicer. So yeah, that little thing crawling along the bottom of the screen right there. Yeah, follow that, please. And tag me, shoot me a DM, whatever, what have you. So yeah, by all means, put it out there and let's see what we got. So with that in mind, we're going to go straight into the news portion of our show this morning and talk about some things that are going on. And I want to get your guys' take on them because, my commentary is one thing. You guys are the audience. I want to hear it from you, what you think about this, that, or the other, things that have happened in the news this week. And with that said, I want to start with probably one of the most impactful things politically that happened in the country this week. Now, I don't know about you guys, but about a couple of weeks ago, when Thomas Massey went down in Kentucky in the Kentucky primary, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt, because it's like, man, here we've got a fairly independent voice, a man who's accomplished. He's trying to do what he can for his district and for his country. I could make an argument, probably one of the most effective legislators in the whole of the Congress. And then Thomas Massey goes down, thanks to about $15 million or more dumped in to try and defeat the guy. So I'm not going to lie, losing Massey hurt. That said, however, what happened this week, oh, I was so glad to see this for so many different reasons. As y'all know, Texas had its primary on Tuesday. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me back up a second. This wasn't the primary. This was a runoff election, because Texas, like some states, has a rule that says if a candidate does not get above 50% in the primary, the top two candidates go to a runoff election. And the runoff happened on Tuesday. And the runoff was between sitting United States Senator John Cornyn, the incumbent Republican, and, well, that's okay. I'm glad you asked me this question. I'm glad you asked me this. This version of Rumble Studio that I'm using. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Gypsy. You stated that correctly. It's more like 35 million. You're right. I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. But to go back to this version of Rumble Studio has a function where I can take live calls. Now, I've activated it, but I'm not exactly sure how it works. So if someone could walk me through how to do this, I'll be happy to hear from you guys this morning. But yeah, it's got a function that'll allow me to take live callers, but I don't quite know how the setup works on this. So if somebody's got an idea how to make this work, hey, tell me in chat. I'll be glad to do it. Right now I'm going to go ahead and close it. But yeah, I mean, I want to, if we can incorporate that, I'd love to do it. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to make it work. But anyway, but yeah, that's the story behind it. But anyway, getting back. Oh yeah, I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to do it. Yeah, if I can figure out how to make that work, believe me, we're going to do it. So yeah, I think that'd be a nice integration of old school talk radio and new technology. I think it'd be cool. But anyway, getting back to Texas. So John Cornyn is a sitting Republican senator. He's been there for 25 years. Okay. And the Attorney General of the state, Ken Paxton, took him on. And this was a race that was so frustrating to me for so many different reasons. Okay. So many different reasons. The frustration comes from the fact that, number one, contrary to all of the, well, John Cornyn voted with Donald Trump 99% of the time, John Cornyn was a rhino. Okay? John Cornyn would stab Trump in the back at every turn, like most Republicans in the U.S. Senate. Okay? Which I've got some evidence for that here in a minute. And the Republicans the Republican leadership in Congress, I should say, spent upwards of $100 million in the primary trying to keep Cornyn from being upset. To keep him from being upset. Hang on one second, folks. All right, we got to see this. I got to see what's going on here. Rumble Studio does not have a native built-in feature to take interface. The platform primarily supports live streaming with its which allows hosts to accept video or audio callers from the internet through a shared link rather than a traditional shoot. To integrate actual phone calls into your workflow, you must use a third-party automation like PipeDream combined with APIs such as Fractal. Well, okay, never mind. Never mind then. Sorry about that, folks. I was getting excited for nothing. Okay, thank you, WWG1, for the clarification. Through a shared link rather than traditional telephone calls. Well, shoot. Anyway, getting back to something. Robert says, Massey earned his L by refusing to further any legislation. I get that he wants to avoid bloat, but this is Washington. At some point, you have to have something for your voters. Okay, all right, that's fair. I can understand that. But I would argue, as far as like getting something done, the legislation he co-sponsored with Ro Khanna on the Epstein files, I thought he did that very effectively. Very, very effective. But anyway, back to Texas. So the Republicans in Washington spent upwards of $100 million trying to save John Cornyn and save a guy who has no loyalty to the president. So, okay, well, all right, hang on. We may be giving this a try at some point. I don't know if we're going to do it today, but at some point we're going to give this a try because now I'm getting some information here about how this works. They spent $100 million on John Cornyn, and for a guy who has no loyalty to the president. If you don't believe me, ask how much John Cornyn tried to get the SAVE Act through the Senate. So what happened Tuesday night, to me, was just wonderful. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, here it is. Here's the final result of the primary election in Texas. Ken Paxton whooped, and I mean whooped, John Cornyn like 2-1. Now, granted, for Texas, this was a relatively low voter turnout. I mean, tally that up, that's like, 1.3 million votes, which, again, it's a runoff. You expect a runoff election to be light. But even still, for the people who showed up, 2-1, Paxton beat Cornyn. And we've got a little bit of Ken Paxton's victory speech, which I want to play some of it. Because, I think, you ought to hear from the guy who's going to go on to run for the Republicans in November. So with that, here's Ken Paxton on election night.
I feel speechless in a way, but they're not going to let me do that. Wow. To the people in this room, to the people watching at home, and to the people of the great state of Texas, tonight, we just made history. I want to thank my family, my kids, my grandchildren, the Paxton Patriots, and every single person here today. Without your love, your support, and your prayers, we would not be here tonight celebrating this incredible victory. I'd also like to thank all of the grassroots, local, state, and national leaders who supported this campaign, including Congressman Brandon Gill, who just spoke, Lance Gooden, Congressman Nels, Congressman Wesley Hunt, and Congressman Ronnie Jackson. I'd also like to thank Scott Pressler and Turning Point Action for their endorsements. And then there's one person who I think you might know, President Donald J. Trump.
Okay, I'm going to stop the clip right there for a second because I'd kind of like, I want to talk about something that everybody is just all up in arms about for various reasons. Ken Paxton, appropriately thanks Donald Trump in that clip that you just saw. And yes, Donald Trump did endorse Ken Paxton as opposed to endorsing John Cornyn. And official Washington is just all ticked off at Donald Trump for the fact that he endorsed a challenger to a sitting Republican senator. Okay. Well, first of all, from my perspective, and y'all can disagree with me on this if you want to, and I again, drop your comments in chat, be it on Rumble or X or YouTube. To me, Donald Trump's endorsement is like a Johnny come lately. Okay? I mean, everybody's known about this primary for the better part of a year. The Republican establishment in Washington was running ads against Paxton all the way up to the day of the election. Spent it's not like this primary is going on and Donald Trump doesn't realize, I probably ought to do something by way of an endorsement here. Now, it used to be the old rule was, hey, if you have a contested primary and you are another Republican office holder, generally speaking, you stay out of it, especially if you're the president, okay? That's how the old rule used to work. Now, you might do stuff behind the scenes on behalf of one person or another, but officially you stayed out of it. Well, not so much anymore. So it's not like Donald Trump didn't know, I probably ought to do an endorsement in this race because this is pretty high profile. But everybody in Washington's like, I can't believe Donald Trump did this, blah, 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 blah. He swung this race for Ken Paxton. His endorsement was so powerful, blah, 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 blah. Okay, first of all, again, the endorsement is Johnny come lately, okay? He waited till almost the last minute to do it. And why? Because there was polling, private and public, that showed that Ken Paxton stood a very good chance of beating John Cornyn. Now, I don't think anybody expected the result like what happened on Tuesday night. Let me pop this back up on the screen. Of the people who voted in the runoff election, Paxton beat him like 2-1. So nobody was expecting that result. But there was polling out there that said, hey, Paxton's probably going to beat Cornyn in this primary. Donald Trump did this to preserve his own endorsement record for whatever that's worth. Believe me, some of the people he's handing out endorsements to, it's like, oh my, yeah, these guys stink. They're terrible. So you got that going on. And then you got the fact that, laying aside the Johnny come lately factor of the endorsement, okay, the fact that Trump endorsed Paxton late, should anybody really be surprised in one sense that Donald Trump would choose to endorse Ken Paxton over John Cornyn? Well, what do you mean? Why should I be surprised? Now let's think about what I just said a minute ago. Listen, when it comes to endorsements, Donald Trump is either blind, stupid, or both in some cases when he hands out an endorsement. For example, Lindsey Graham is probably one of the most duplicitous snakes in the entire United States Congress, more particularly the U.S. Senate, okay? Lindsey Graham has stabbed Donald Trump in the back publicly and privately more times than I care to count, okay? Yet, Donald Trump still chooses to play golf with the guy, and he went ahead and endorsed him in the South Carolina primary. So when I say that Donald Trump is either blind, stupid, or both when it comes to his endorsement sometimes, that's what I'm getting at. He'll endorse people who have absolutely stabbed him in the back. Okay. Well, and small time, this is a fair point, and welcome in. Glad to have you, sir. Trump will do some flip-flopping on endorsements. He backed Katie Britt, senator from Alabama, Katie Britt's opponent in 2022 until she led in the polls and he switched. Okay, that's a fair point. But then again, like I said, when it comes to Ken Paxton, should anybody be surprised, really, that Donald Trump endorsed Paxton over John Cornyn? Now, if you wonder what I'm talking about, John Cornyn is no, America First MAGA Republican. Okay. Well, yeah, and here's another example of it. Nancy Mace. And we'll get to this here in a minute. Nancy Mace is running for governor in South Carolina. Staunch defender of Donald Trump. Okay? Backed him up as much and as often as she could. And what does she get for her trouble? Donald Trump gives his endorsement to the lieutenant governor who's running to replace Henry McMaster's. So yeah, when it comes to issuing his endorsement, Trump is just ugh. But in one sense, I wasn't necessarily surprised that Donald Trump endorsed Ken Paxton over John Cornyn. And as a matter of fact, if you want some reasons, consider the following. Check this out.
Two reactions worth noting from Senate Republican leadership. John Cornyn of Texas told CBS News he simply doesn't think Donald Trump can get elected president.
Now, this was back in 2024 after the E. Jean Carroll verdict came out. Okay? So just remember the time frame and remember the context. A judge awarded E. Jean Carroll millions of dollars in the lawsuit that she brought against Donald Trump. And then immediately everybody runs to these Republican senators asking them for their reactions. Let me back this up. Now that you understand the context of this clip and start it over again. And remember, Donald Trump endorses Ken Paxton over John Cornyn. Well, if you remember, Donald Trump may have had a reason why. Here's one of them.
Two reactions worth noting from Senate Republican leadership. John Cornyn of Texas told CBS News he simply doesn't think Donald Trump can get elected president. Quite a statement from Senator Cornyn. John Thune of South Dakota says America is going to have to decide whether it wants to deal with, quote, all the drama after this verdict and the other investigations. Not exactly a robust endorsement from top Senate Republicans.
Yeah. So, John Cornyn's out there saying at Donald Trump's lowest moment, well, I don't think the guy can get elected. Yet he's out there begging Trump for his endorsement to save his political hide. So yeah, I'm not in one sense, I'm not surprised that Donald Trump endorsed Ken Paxton. Let's remember, in 2025, it was Ken Paxton, going to the mattresses on behalf of Donald Trump. Okay. So yeah, I'm not necessarily surprised. But it kills me thinking about it. Oh man, I can't believe, you got Republicans in Washington all breathing heavy about this. And they're like, oh, I can't believe that Donald Trump endorsed a challenger to a sitting Republican senator. Yeah, a senator that was disloyal to Donald Trump. Now, people can say Donald Trump is being petty. They can say whatever else they want to, and that's fine. But guess what? He's the president, and it's his endorsement. Right or wrong, he's got the option to do whatever he wants. If he wants to endorse, he can. If he wants to endorse a challenger, he can. If he wants to not endorse anybody, he can. If he wants to endorse the incumbent, guess what? He can. It's his endorsement, and he's the president. Well, that's an interesting way of putting it. I'm not going to go. I can understand where you're coming from in that. I'll just put it like that. I don't know that I totally agree with you, but I will say this. There's a bunch of them getting cleaned out. Cornyn is top of the list. But having said that, John Cornyn did not do Ken Paxton any favors going into the general election. I've got a clip here from Steve Bannon's show, The War Room, and one of his frequent guests is political consultant Caroline Wren, and she had a really interesting take on this. So with that, folks, check this out and let me know what you think.
Now, Cornyn is a guy who's been the senator here for 24 years. I don't recall him running a single ad touting his own record of what he'd done for the people of Texas. All he did was run ads to the tune of $100 million plus, just going scorched earth on Ken Paxton. And Paxton is still going to win today. And so I'm sorry that you got maybe heckled or yelled at, but people are pissed. The people that I know in Texas, and I grew up here, they are pissed at this campaign that Cornyn ran. They are pissed at how negative those ads are. And they are pissed at Cornyn for having a 24-year career of abandoning his voters. And that is not going to change today. It, in fact, will end today.
And you know what? Say what you want to, but Caroline Wren does have a completely valid point. And that is, can anybody really name any significant legislation that John Cornyn authored that benefited his home state of Texas or the country in general? And if you can, put it in the chat. I mean, let's talk about it. But Caroline Wren, I think, has a perfectly valid point. He didn't spend $100 million, or maybe it's better to say $100 million wasn't spent on his behalf, touting his record of the things he did for Texas and for the country. No, he spent $100 million, trying to burn down the guy who had the audacity to challenge him in a primary. Yeah, so I'm not surprised by, matter of fact, gun control legislation, if I remember correctly. And, for those of you out there who are very seriously into the 2A issue, straighten me out or back me up on this. But Cornyn was out there, trying to get, gun control legislation through at one point. At one point, he was trying to move on amnesty, for illegal aliens in this country. When he would, and there have been clips of it, Caroline Wren alludes to it. There have been clips that when John Cornyn stepped up on stage, man, he was getting booed right out of the room. People of Texas wanted nothing to do with this guy. Okay. Yeah, and this is a really good point. Robert, this is a really good point, and you bring this up. John Cornyn's fate was already sealed. In one sense, it wouldn't have mattered if Donald Trump endorsed Ken Paxton or not. Seriously. And this is what I'm talking about. All the polling leading to that election before Trump came out with the endorsement showed that Ken Paxton stood a pretty good chance of beating Cornyn. Trump just more or less, put the cherry on top of the cake. Again, with his Johnny-come-lately endorsement, meant to protect his endorsement record more so than, trying to give the voters a clear idea of what his intentions are. So, everybody's all up in arms. I can't believe Trump did this. I can't believe he endorsed a challenger over a sitting Republican senator. Yeah. And is anybody really surprised that Trump did it? No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not shocked at all. Not in the slightest. Yeah, I don't disagree with you, brother. I think you're right. Now, some of these politicians are going to survive their primaries, which I've got some updated numbers on Lindsey Graham's race in South Carolina, which is coming up this month, coming up in June. But they're going to survive. But it kind of boggles my mind. It really does. Truly, truly does. And now here comes the question for official Washington. You're the Senate Republican leadership. Are you going to try and help out Paxton to hang on to the seat, or are you so petty that you're going to let Tallarico, the Democrat who's running, win that race? Now, some people out there might ask the question, well, that seems like a very silly question. Of course, the Republicans are going to back Paxton. How much? Look, they spent $100 million trying to hang on to Cornyn. Are they going to spend at least that much trying to get Paxton in the Senate or get him across the finish line? You know, I'll put this up here. Gypsy says regarding the Massey election was stolen. The math doesn't math. And a lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said it. That Massey was robbed. And, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I looked into it thoroughly, but I've heard that accusation from a lot of people. That it just didn't make any sense. Now, Massey, for his part, he's not pushing the issue. He's like, look, this was the election. I lost. But there it is. This I don't know about TBA, but we'll see what happens come November. Neither the Democrat or Republican parties will survive the coming swamp cleaning. Well, your lips to God's ear. If there are, let's put it this way, if there are Democrats that go down in November, or let me rephrase that. If there are Democrats that are beaten, in their primaries, don't be surprised, because the same kind of transformation that's being attempted in the Republican Party, a different kind of transformation is being attempted in the Democrat Party. Except for the Democrats, it's taking out old-timers and replacing them with more radical versions of themselves. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's just see if the Republicans in Washington really care enough about hanging on to that seat that they're going to spend the money necessary to make that happen. I don't know. Now, I've got an article here from Time Magazine. With this, we'll wrap up this topic. Now, I'll pop it up on screen. There's parts of this I want to read. Headline says, Ken Paxton beat John Cornyn and blows a $250 million hole in the Trump Senate map. This is by Philip Elliott, who's a senior correspondent for Time Magazine. First paragraph says, for more than a year, Republicans beseeched President Trump's advisors in the White House with a simple ask. If he could find a way to endorse John Cornyn, could he at least keep his mouth shut? In other words, either do one or the other. Just don't endorse Paxton. Well, he did. Going a little further into this article, well before Tuesday's primary runoff, it was clear this is still Trump's Republican Party. Earlier this month, Trump took out 5 GOP state lawmakers in Indiana because they did not bow to the White House's campaign to redraw U.S. House districts to boost Democrats. He refused to endorse Bill Cassidy in Louisiana over his vote to impeach Trump, instead backing a primary challenger who won. And Representative Tom Massey is heading home to Kentucky early next year after Trump led a primary against him for such sins as championing accountability for convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Taken together, it is clear Trump is both at his weakest point with the general electorate, but his strongest point at enforcing party purity with the base. His polling among all Americans is in the gutter, but his pulpit with the GOP is mighty high. So as Trump flails with his unpopular war in Iran, seems unable to combat the corresponding higher costs of gas, and continues to launch rhetorical attacks against his perceived enemies, the president is left with a revenge agenda that he can control. By sacrificing Cornyn and giving Democrats even the longest of openings, he's leaving one more seat exposed. What's more, a hypothetical Tallarico win at the top of the ticket in Texas could boost Democrats in House races down ballot. So this move can end up boosting the chances of Democrats gaining control of both the House and the Senate. It's a self-own of consequences Trump might not fully realize until the new Congress is gavelled in next year and the subpoenas start coming from the oversight panels. And that point I totally agree with. If the Democrats do take control of the House and Senate, oh my Lord, the investigations are going to start flying. So we'll see what happens. So That's some comments about the Paxton victory on Tuesday. Let me get some of your comments in here in case I didn't try and get as many of them in as I can. Give me 1 second here. TBA says Dems are destroying themselves. They don't need Trump's help to obliterate their own party, but Republicans will be excavated to the roots now. Well, we'll see. We will see. What else have we got here? WWG1 says lots of elections have been stolen. Massey is no one special in that regard. Point taken. See, what else do we have here? TBA also says the more radical the Dems or Republicans, the further away from voters will fly, thus destroying both parties. Good point. Good point. What else do we have here? Small Time says, like Trump, when Paxton was impeached, it only endeared him more to his vote. Yeah, I mean, to give you an idea of how bad Texas Republicans wanted to get rid of Ken Paxton, even before he decided to run against Cornyn. Remember back in 2020, was it 21 or 22? Yeah, the Texas House of Representatives impeached Ken Paxton related to charges brought up while he was Attorney General. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. You know. Gypsy says, prediction, cannot see Paxton beating Tallarico. Okay. Interesting. There are skeletons, Paxton. Yeah, and believe me, Cornyn tried to use every last one of them to beat the guy. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll put it like this. If Paxton does win in November, which for my part, I think he will. I mean, but it's gonna be very thin. Very thin. But we'll see. And the other, like I said, this is going to be a real test, although I think I know what the Senate Republicans are going to do. The test is this. Okay, so John Cornyn beat one of their guys. Are they willing to spend the money to try to hang on to the seat? Are they willing to help him out? Or is it going to be one of those things that they're going to say, well, we did what we could, but we couldn't raise money for the guy. He was so unpopular. His views were so extreme. You know, we couldn't get our donors to give him any money and just use that as the excuse to hang the guy out to dry. That's what I'm going to be interested in seeing. Be real interested in seeing that. So, yes, we'll see what happens. All right. Let me do a real quick commercial, and then we'll switch to a new topic. So if you've happened on this live stream, regardless of whether you're on X, regardless of whether you're on Rumble, regardless of whether you're on YouTube or Locals or wherever you are out there, first of all, howdy. My name is Brian Trippett, and I'm the Front Porch Conservative, and this is Front Porch Brunch. We get together on the weekends sometimes, talk about some of the things going on in the news, let you guys give your views, blow off some steam, have some fun, have some laughs, and, try to make sense out of this crazy thing that we call life. If you're enjoying what you're watching right now, do me a favor. Subscribe to my channel on Rumble and YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. While you're at it, go ahead and hit the like button for today and hit the thumbs up anywhere you can. Leave a comment in chat. Share the link around. Hit the bell for notifications. Do all that crazy stuff. And let's see if we can grow this, take this going little concern and make it a going big concern. All right. With that, we're going to move to a new topic. And we're going to start it off with, I found this today, and I thought, you know what? This may be one of the funniest things that I have seen in a while. Excuse me while I pour some water here. And it's a meme that may explain more about why we cannot get out of this situation we're in with Iran than anything I've ever seen. Now, don't get me wrong. We got ourselves into it, which we've talked about that on many occasions here. But getting ourselves out of it shouldn't be as hard as it is. But I found something today, and when I saw this, I was like, God, this is funny. But it may be so true. And it was this. Now, you look at that and you go, well, I don't get it. Well, this is a representation of Donald Trump shaking hands with himself, like they just concluded a deal. The implication being Donald Trump's negotiating with himself, or negotiating against himself, as the case may be. Now, I share this in the context of what's going on with the war in Iran. And yesterday, we got another example of good news that went nowhere. And if you wonder what I'm talking about, and maybe you didn't get a chance to see it, let me start off with a post on Truth Social from Donald Trump. This was posted yesterday morning around, 10 minutes to 11. Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. The Hormuz Strait must be opened immediately, no tolls for unrestricted shipping traffic in both directions. All water mines, bombs, if any, will be terminated. We have removed, through detonation, numerous such mines with our great underwater minesweepers. Iran will complete the immediate removal and or detonation of any mines that are left, which will not be many. Ships caught in the strait due to our amazing and unprecedented naval blockade, which will now be lifted. Yeah, that's right. Trump says we're lifting the blockade. May start the process of heading home. Say hello to your wives, husbands, parents, and families from me, your favorite president. The enriched material, sometimes referred to as nuclear dust, which is buried deep underground with virtually collapsed mountains caused by our powerful B-2 bomber attack 11 months ago, sitting on top of it, will be unearthed by the United States, which it is agreed is the only country, along with China, with the mechanical capability to do so, in close coordination and conjunction with the Islamic Republic of Iran, plus the International Atomic Energy Agency, and destroyed. No money will be exchanged until further notice. Other items of far less importance have been agreed to. Now, notice what he says. Items of lesser importance have been agreed to. So this makes you think that we've got a deal. I will be meeting now in the Situation Room to make a final determination. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So, hey, we got a deal. Hot dog. We're about to get out of this thing, right? And yeah, Gypsy, you're right. It is incoherent. Hey, George, how you doing this morning? Good to have you in the house, brother. Good to see you. Ah, goodness me. So that's Trump's side of it. Now, shortly after that, from a news source called Farsi News, Mario Nawal, who's been, by the way, his coverage on this whole thing's been great. Here's Iran's version of the deal that supposedly is agreed to. $12 billion released immediately, nuclear program discussed later, no dismantling of facilities, no disposal of enriched uranium, and Iran can still charge Hormuz passage. Now, wait a minute. Now, hold on a minute. Trump said in his post, let me put it back up there, never agree to a nuclear weapon. The Hormuz Strait is open immediately with no tolls. Ships in the strait can move through. The nuclear dust is going to be dug up and destroyed in conjunction with us in some other country. No money is going to be exchanged. Yada, yada, yada. The Iranians come back with no. The deal you agreed to was $12 billion is released immediately. Nuclear program we're going to talk about later. We're not going to dismantle our facilities. We're not getting rid of the enriched uranium, and we're going to still charge for passage through the Strait of Hormuz. I have a question. Who am I supposed to believe? Well, you're an American. You're supposed to believe your president. I go back to Gypsy's statement. It's incoherent. It's like, good God. I'm supposed to believe this? I'm an American. Yeah, I'm an American, but I also believe the truth of what I see with my lying eyes. Problem is, I can't tell who's telling me the truth at this point. Therefore, it's like, okay, here's what they're both saying. Make up your own mind. I don't think we have a deal. I don't think we had a deal. For my part, I think they're negotiating in broad daylight as opposed to doing it behind closed doors. Now, they may be using, Pakistan or somebody to be the courier, but they're negotiating out in plain sight with each other. There is not a deal. Trump's dictating the terms of what he'd like to see in a deal. The Iranians are like, no, this is what we're going to do. And we're still at for my part, I think we're still at the same point we were before. Nowhere. We're nowhere close to getting out of this thing. And the clock is ticking. And I've got a clip here from Jim Rickards, who runs an organization called Strategic Intelligence. And when Rickards speaks, usually I'll listen to him for a lot of reasons, but most of them has to do with the fact that I think he's got a lot of common sense. Okay. So Rickards goes on television and makes the following statement. This runs about 2 minutes, but I just only need to play about a minute of it. So here you go.
This is a game of chicken. It's the best way to understand it. And is Iran under stress? Are they suffering economically? Yes. But you're just weeks away from turning out the lights in South Korea. In other words, who's going to blink first? That's really the only question. Who's going to blink first? Iran is under stress. The global economy is under more stress. Now, Trump, and I got to give Besson some credit, they've been talking this up. See Marco Rubio out the other day, I think was in India. He took his jacket off. He had looked like a Brooks Brothers product placement. But they're all saying, we're really close. Everything's going well. The Americans are really good at talking to themselves. They're not so good at talking to the Iranians.
And that's a great point. Now, we'll get back to the clip here in a second. I'm not so sure in all of this if Rickards isn't right. We, the Americans, and when I say the Americans, I mean Trump, Witkoff, Kushner, Rubio, etc., are real good at talking to each other, but they're lousy when it comes to talking to the Iranians. Or maybe it's better to say addressing what the Iranians feel are their legitimate concerns. And again, I'm not defending the Iranians in this. I'm an American. I want to see my country do very well. Thank you very much. But this is supposed to be a negotiation, not a talk to yourself session. Anyway, back to this clip with Rickards. There's another 30 or 40 seconds of this.
If you're the Iranians, why should they give Trump anything? Are they under stress? Yes. But will they crack before the global economy? No. And that gives them the leverage. Plus, it's because of the Strait of Hormuz, obviously. So Trump has the same three choices he's always had, or since the start of the war. Surrender. Trump will call it a victory, but it's surrender. Stalemate, which is we just keep going the way we are. Well, the global economy is going to come to a halt, or large portions of it. And the third is escalation, which I've always analogized to Vietnam. I don't see any change in that. I think those are the same three choices.
And again, I don't think he's wrong. I really don't. Look, we have dropped bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb on the Iranians. Around Tehran, and around various military targets all around the country. And guess what? After weeks of bombing, the Iranians have all the same capabilities now that they had before. I mean, the New York Times reported the other day that 80 to 90% of their rocket launchers are now back up and functional. If this thing goes kinetic again, Iran can do just as much damage now as it did before. We, on the other hand, our stockpiles are getting lower and lower and lower for various reasons. Thank you, Ukraine. So, yeah, we got one of three options here. Either A, Trump declares victory and gets out. B, we keep on, we keep this stalemate going, which the problem with that is everybody around the world is suffering in one form or another right now. And we're not too far away from suffering just like the rest of the world. If you've seen the reports from various oil executives. And three, we go back to kinetic warfare and we get nowhere with this. This is, I mean, I'm going to use an analogy and y'all are going to catch what I'm saying here. This is Brer Rabbit being stuck on Tar Baby. Iran is the Tar Baby, the U.S. is Brer Rabbit, and we are stuck. And there's almost no good way to get unstuck from this Tar Baby. So we're no closer to a deal.